Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX. I'm Devika Chopra. Top focus right now is the Suchir Balaji death case. On the 26th of November, an OpenAI researcher turned whistleblower, Suchir Balaji, was found dead in his apartment in San Francisco. The San Francisco Medical Examiner's Office had determined his death to have been caused by suicide, and police claim that they found no evidence of foul play either. But the death has come after Balaji, in an interview, had publicly spoken about OpenAI's practices for gathering information, for which the company is already facing lawsuits from several publishers. Now, Suchir's mother, Purnima Rao, has also revealed that she hired a private investigator who has found blood spots in Suchir's bathroom, who found the apartment to be ransacked. She is now demanding an FBI investigation into the same. The mother has also alleged that Suchir was going to reveal many details about OpenAI's operations in his testimony and the culture of corruption in major tech companies in the United States. Elon Musk has also come to support her claims, posting that he doesn't feel that this matter is one of suicide but could possibly be a matter of murder. What really is going on, and what do we now make of the current circumstances? We take this conversation forward. I have with me Dr. Jayajit Bhattacharya, and we also have with us Mr. Surinder Singh Lali, international affairs expert. Let me begin with Jayajit. Jayajit, very interesting developments as far as this case is concerned. Here's a young boy who was working for OpenAI, which is the company that is most known for its one product called ChatGPT. He's a 26-year-old researcher who turned whistleblower, and ahead of his testimony, he's been found dead in his apartment in San Francisco, and his mother is the one now who's really saying that, listen, we were supposed to go on vacation, he was happy, there was nothing disturbing. When he spoke to the family did not feel as though anything was off per se. No suicide note that was found, and the family could not even see the body ultimately. The CCTV footage has not been shared with the family. So when we put all of this together, does it seem of something much bigger than a suicide?
To begin with, commenting on any of such a circumstance would start getting us into the conspiracy theories. But having said that, if you look at what is being put by the mother of the deceased on Twitter, it seems that obviously there seems to be a struggle in that apartment that the boy or the man was living in. There are drops of blood over there. And more importantly, one needs to first find out what was the basis for the police to claim it was a suicide. If there is no suicide note, if there is nothing which indicates it's a suicide, then what was the tearing hurry for the San Francisco police to really call it a suicide and also not give the body to the family? Also disturbing is the fact that there has been a spate of deaths of whistleblowers in US. The last one that I recollect was the death of the whistleblower of Boeing. And that man again just died, and multiple such whistleblowers have died in US, which is very disconcerting because if the whistleblowers are not getting protection and they are supposed to work for the rest of the society, and it seems that the system somehow is covering it up because none of the deaths of these whistleblowers actually led to anybody getting arrested or to find out why they were killed and why they died for that matter. They were all passed off as suicides. And this is part of the trend where we see another whistleblower of a very, very important issue, which is how the AI was getting trained and how large-scale copyright violations was happening. And the day before he's supposed to give testimony and reveal name, he turns up dead. And the police seems to be in an extreme hurry to dispose of the body and to declare it as a suicide. I think it's very, very disconcerting for sure.
Right, let me bring in Mr. Surinder Lali into the conversation as well. Mr. Lali, the mother of Suchir Balaji, Purnima Rao, says that the lobby in San Francisco is extremely powerful. What the family eventually had to do in this particular case, because like I explained, the family didn't feel as though there was anything really wrong in the way Suchir was conducting himself before this entire incident took place, that he was speaking normally to the family as well, and the family felt that he was absolutely okay and that he was fine. They say that they hired a private investigator, and they also conducted a second autopsy which completely contradicts the version that was given by the police. The family is claiming that there were signs of some sort of a search in the bedroom, that the bedroom was ransacked in a way that it looked as though someone was searching for something, that there were blood spots near the sink, that his desktop was completely ransacked as well, that his computer was on for 3 days and temporarily data was deleted from the computer as well. So lots of information being put out by the family at this point in time. Is there anything that the family can do perhaps with this information now?
Thank you, Devika ji. And to start with, my heart goes out for the parents, because it's not easy to lose a 26-year-old child, be any nationality, or for any parents, it's not easy. And I might have to agree with Dr. Bhattacharya that at least I'm not a forensic expert, but I'm going to give you quickly 10 reasons why there seems to be more than what meets the eye. Number one, there were blood stains in the bathroom and in parts of the room. Number two, there is no history of mental illness. I mean, somebody who's so deeply into technology obviously uses a digital footprint, and not to mention, he also wrote a journal which has no reference to it. Number three, the CCTV footage is only from one camera, while there are two more buildings. And the SFO department takes only 40 minutes to conclude that this is a suicide. No condolences or no messages from AI, Sam Altman or the likes of them. The witness, and he was just before a week, he was to appear in the New York Times witness case. Unfortunately, he disappears. Some of the documents are missing, the cache files are deleted, the computer has been on for 3 days. And now, in America, everybody has a body cam too. So the parents have not given pictures of, unfortunately, the crime scene or the body cam till date, and they are not even responding. And my last bit, which I want to answer your question, my only hope seems to be, because Elon Musk has, axe to grind, with Sam Altman and the other 9, people who started this. So I hope, because he's in a position of power, he has Donald Trump's ear. And I hope his involvement, because the parents are asking for the FBI to get involved, and that's probably the only way. Because not only is it about, the lobbies, which his mother said, but let's understand, Donald Trump is on record saying that there is a deep state in America which he wants to do away with. So for me, there is a lot more that appears to the eye, which calls for far more, even if it's private investigation, it has to be looked into. Because one more last point, if I may conclude, is that look at the wealth generation that has happened in America in the last 40 years. Microsoft, $3.1 trillion. Amazon, $1.92 trillion, and Google, 2.17. So imagine these are trillion-dollar companies, and in which if a 26-year-old guy who was very instrumental in when AI went, from ChatGPT went from a non-profit to a profit. So maybe he knows a lot more, and that exposes the vulnerability of these trillion-dollar corporations, which by his revelations could have brought them and trillions of dollars down. So there is far more to what appears the eye.
Okay, Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor, your thoughts as well, sir, on this entire case, and essentially the details that are now being put out by Suchir Balaji, his family, specifically his mother. What do you make of the allegations, firstly, that the family is raising?
Well, first of all, it's a very unfortunate incident which has happened to a young, very bright life to be cut short at such a young age, and a very productive individual, a very intelligent person who was doing a lot of good work in this very new field. And under such dubious circumstances, as both my distinguished panelists have explained in detail, Now, I hope that this, very tragic incident uh, just is not brushed under the carpet, or a life is not lost in vain, in the sense that AI itself depends a lot on the inputs that you provide, on the data that is given in, and now there is this question of copyright violation also. So there are a lot of issues which are surrounding this case, and it needs to be analyzed in depth and understood that there have to be certain guidelines, certain guardrails, so that this also does not become a totally biased sort of body of knowledge and information, which is created by the people who are now putting in all the data, in a way that all the output and the generation of all the sort of templates which are created, or the information which is created, because the students these days all over the world and also in the US, we see that they are depending a lot on chat GPT and other AI portals to just ask the chat GPT to do all the homework for them, to write out all the essays for them. So anything that you feed in has to be really, has to have a lot of integrity, has to have a lot of truth. So how do you ensure that? And particularly his death now under very suspicious circumstances should give rise to a lot of questions, lot of discussions, lot of better understanding as to how this has happened, why this has happened, how this can be avoided in the future, and how such lives need not be sacrificed at the altar of untruth or falsehood and misinformation. So I hope that it results in some positive outcomes also. It's very sad for the family, of course, for the mother, for the father, to see their young child lost in such circumstances. And I'm really very sorry that this incident has happened.
But at the same time, Master Pradeep Kapoor, do you feel that the parents can do anything with the information that they've gathered through their private investigator in the US? And the parents are really adamant that what they found is completely contradicting what the cops have been saying so far in the case. Because the cops, as Mr. Lali also said, the cops were very quick to put this out, put Suchir's death as a suicide. However, the parents claimed that there were bloodstains in the bathroom, that his room was ransacked, that the data from his computer was also deleted. Lots of information that the parents seem to have found, which is not really, which is completely, like I said, contradicting what the officials, the authorities have found out. But is there anything that the parents can then do with the information that they found?
Well, the parents will also depend a lot on the media as to how far the media is able to sustain the story and create a good narrative so that the truth comes out. Also, the social media is very powerful these days. Also, the Indian diaspora in the US has a very huge presence in every sphere. And people like Vivek Ramaswamy are also very close to the levers of power. So somehow the message has to go across to them to take up this cause and to bring it to a conclusion where the future becomes better and not worse than what it is heading towards. Thank you.
Right. Mr. Lali, what's the likelihood then of, say, the US media or even social media, etc., really taking up this particular death?
Devika ji, she used a very strong word, the lobbies. And please understand, America is probably the most open and shut case in terms of moving the lobbies. I mean, everything is available for a price there as far as you're willing to pay the price, and they'll find somebody to influence. So it's going to be a mammoth task for the parents, because please understand, they don't have the billions of dollars that these companies might have to utilize to influence all sorts of congressmen or senators or whosoever it may be. I mean, if they're saying that the police is not participating, that itself shows you to the level of involvement of the system in trying to protect whosoever the perpetrators are. But allow me to make one more point. I mean, look at it. What does GPT stand for? Generative Pre-trained Transformer. So what's the keyword? Pre-trained. Now that pre-trained is where through technology a digital footprint today, these individuals sitting somewhere in California or in the Silicon Valley control the very thought process of how a lot of people think. Because as I said, every time we go on the net, we leave a digital footprint, and that allows people to actually understand and deconstruct our thought process. So my only what I would love to pray is that I hope Elon Musk, for his reasons, because he's probably the best bet, even if he does this for his vested interest. He has an axe to grind with Sam, but I hope it takes the matter is picked up, because that's the only way. Otherwise, the deep state and lobbies are two very loaded statements in the United States, which has gone out and destroyed countries, if not economies.
Right, absolutely. I'm going to request our crew to also just quickly take the screen on air as well. I'm currently looking at a handle that goes by the name of Purnima Rao, which is of course Suchir Balaji's mother's handle that she's created on Twitter to give updates on this particular case. And in that she's mentioned what I've said thus far. We hired a private investigator and did a second autopsy to throw light on the cause of death. The private autopsy doesn't confirm cause of death stated by police. Suchir's apartment was ransacked, sign of struggle in the bathroom, and looks like someone hit him in the bathroom based on blood spots. It's a cold-blooded murder declared by authorities as suicide. Lobbying in SF City doesn't stop us from getting justice. We demand an FBI investigation, and she's tagged Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, the MEA as well. Then she's spoken about how they're raising funds towards litigation and towards a detailed investigation. And she's tagged Elon Musk in this particular post as well, to which Elon Musk has replied saying this doesn't seem like a suicide. And then of course his mother goes on to ask for support. But Jayajit Bhattacharya, what is the likelihood of this particular case somewhere getting lost in, as Mr. Lali had also pointed out, you'd also said earlier that there is already some bad blood between an Elon Musk and Sam Altman, who continues to head OpenAI. What is the likelihood of this case then somewhere getting lost amidst an already ongoing battle between two big tech entrepreneurs?
Elon Musk is no more just a tech entrepreneur. He's quite a political mover and shaker. He brings in significant political authority, given his proximity to President-elect Trump. So I hope and I believe that there will be a more detailed investigation done as compared to the deaths of the two whistleblowers who were linked to the Boeing whistleblowing. And if you look at it, on March 2024 this year, John Barnett died from supposed self-inflicted gunshot. And again, coincidentally, he was in the midst of a deposition in a lawsuit against Boeing after exposing safety problems with the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Coincidentally, a few weeks later, Joshua Dean, who was only 45, dies of some severe infection. Now, these are obviously too much of a coincidence, and then nothing has come out of either of these investigations. So under normal course, I doubt that anything will come out, but this is not normal course, and I hope it is not normal course, given the fact that that Musk had a personal interest in ensuring that OpenAI runs in a manner that's aligned to the wellness of humanity, and which is what Balaji was also talking about. I hope he brings in the heft that he carries to bring justice to the situation. Maybe it was a suicide, but obviously with all the evidence, or at least the anecdotal evidence that's coming up, it doesn't look like a suicide. And it's also quite suspicious why the police were in such a big hurry to declare it as a suicide. So under the circumstances, I do hope that this is properly investigated and people who are involved are brought to book. And this is obviously not a something to do with commoners. This is not a regular wrong practice that has happened. It involves, as my co-panelist said, trillions of dollars, trillions of valuations. So it'll be quite an effort to bring in, justice, and hope that comes in.
Yes, but at the same time, Jayjeet, what will it take then for Suchir Balaji's family to really take on these billion, trillion dollar companies?
I mean, on their own, they can't unless people such as Elon Musk and others come in and support the family. They'll be lost in the system, like in any other country. I mean, including in India, they would have been lost in the system unless the public and people who bring in the heft really join the cause and they support what his family is trying to do. And again, as one of the panelists mentioned, there is a significant Indian American diaspora in US, and I hope they also lend a shoulder to the struggle of the family to get justice for the death of their son. So on their own, it'll be a very, very difficult journey, and US is very expensive from a legal perspective. I'm sure it has cost an arm and a leg to hire a private investigator who could very easily find all the clues that we're talking about, which is blood in the bathroom and so on, which very strangely the San Francisco police could not see. So something is amiss, and doing these investigations is extremely expensive. So I hope both people of India and people of US actually, come together, they contribute, and they make sure that the family gets the wherewithal to be able to take this fight forward and to get justice for Balaji.
Mr. Lali, your thoughts on the same as well. Is there anything that perhaps India can do at this point in time to really push, keep the focus on having at least a fair investigation into this matter?
Yes, Devika ji, you've hit it on the head. Suchir's mother is on record not only asking the FBI to intervene, but she's also requested not just the MEA and the Indian government, she's on record saying that. But one more thing, when you listen to her press briefings, she also says United Nations. And then in the same breath, and I quote her, she says her son had sort of out to, unravel, and quote opens, AI harming humanity, quote close. And for me, another reason why I feel there is definitely something fishy up there is because it was when, ChatGPT went from non-profit to profit. So obviously, I don't think one needs to be a rocket scientist to know the kind of funds that are involved and the kind of influence in the thought process. These companies they can make virtually governments fall and create a coup in any system. So that's the power. And yes, I feel that the Indian government, Dr. Jaishankar is in America as we speak, and I hope, they're able to reach him and get his attention too.
Absolutely. But at the same time, what is the likelihood of Suchir's parents really being able to, the same question I posed to Jayjeet, Mr. Lali, same question to you. What's the likelihood of his parents being able to take on these big tech companies? They are the best. They like we've said, they're billion, trillion dollar companies eventually, and they have the best of the legal teams in place.
I think you've answered the question yourself by, telling that these companies are huge, but I'm somebody who believes in the power of positivity. And I feel, and I'm at the risk of repeating, their only best bet is, and the positive signal is that Elon Musk is getting involved. As I said, even if Elon does it for own vested interest and his difference in opinion with the company, but that's probably the shortest and the quickest way that this can be unraveled, because Elon he has the president's ear. So I hope Elon finds his interest, even if his conscience doesn't wake up. He wants to get back to the system and these people who he has, as you rightly said, bad blood with. I think that's probably the shortest and the quicker way. Otherwise, we can always be positive and keep them in our prayers.
Right, absolutely. On that note, I thank both of our panelists for joining us to take this conversation forward. With that, viewers, it's time to sip into a very quick break.